Josh Naylor got out the rye bread and mustard, and Andrés Muñoz bounced back as the Mariners beat the Orioles 6-3 last night. We'll recap the action and talk some injury news coming up. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors, and it's Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. My name is Siding Gonzalez, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Colby Patnode. On today's show, Colt Emerson was scratched from yesterday's lineup with back tightness just hours after J.P. Crawford was placed on the injured list with a right hand contusion. So we'll talk about how that could potentially impact a future roster move the Mariners are likely to make soon. We'll also take a look at Emerson Hancock's start last night in Baltimore, but we'll start with everything else that happened in the Mariners 6-3 win over the Orioles, and a lot happened. Josh Naylor brought out the rye bread and mustard for his first grand slam in a Mariners uniform, his second home run in the month of June, and his fourth extra base hit here in the month of June, which is important to note because he only had 4 extra base hits in the entire month of May. He was hitting for a high average. He was getting on base a ton, but he was not slugging at all. So hopefully this is a sign that the power is starting to find its way back into Josh Naylor's bat. On the pitching side of things, Colby, a little bit of a rough one for the Mariners, especially for Matt Brash and Edward Bizzardo coming out of the bullpen, though both of those guys were bailed out by some big time challenges. An ABS challenge for Brash that flipped a would-be bases loaded walk into a huge strikeout of Pete Alonso. He was then able to get Colton Cowser out in the next at bat to escape a bases loaded jam. And then Edward Bizzardo gets out of a little bit of a jam of his own there in the 8th inning as Julio Rodriguez is able to double off a runner at second. Nice tag there from Ryan Bliss before a run is able to cross the plate. Initially, it was ruled that the run did cross the plate in time. That would have made it 6-4 Mariners and made things a little bit tighter for Andrés Muñoz there in the 9th. But of course, it was ruled that they got the tag down before the run crossed, and that kept things at 6-3. And that's where Andrés Muñoz kept things in the 9th, just a day after his blown save in Detroit on Sunday, which we, of course, talked a lot about on the show yesterday, and it was a very different looking Andrés Muñoz for the better. Just 4 sliders on 19 pitches in that outing against the Tigers. Last night against the Orioles, he threw 16 sliders on 20 pitches, got himself a couple of strikeouts and a relatively easy save. And that's exactly what we talked about on the show yesterday, Colby, that if he doesn't have that slider, he's kind of DOA. Because that 4-seamer this year, to put it nicely, has been non-competitive.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where Munoz should probably just throw the slider even when he doesn't really have it, because the odds of him finding it somewhere along the way, probably higher than the odds of him getting value out of the fastball right now. The fastball's been terrible. So we saw him, just overcook a couple sliders last night and just, a couple cement mixers that weren't anywhere close to the strike zone, but he stuck with it. Pareda kept calling it. He kept throwing it, and he really found some great ones, especially to Pete Alonso. So you kind of hope that the Alonso at bat is a bit of a turning point for Munoz, who stuck with the slider and got a couple strikeouts in that game. So, good bounce back from Andres, but he's going to have to do it 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row before he really starts to, recapture some of the trust that he had, at least from this fan base going forward. But it's certainly a good bounce back for him. Won't be available today. I imagine most of the Mariners bullpen won't be available for today, which isn't ideal when you're still, a week away from an off day. But the bullpen was good enough last night, barely. But it was good enough, and it's a win. And I feel like on Sunday the bullpen really blew one that they should have won, and they kind of evened it up because the Mariners won this game when in reality it did not feel like they were the better team for most of this game, and yet I don't think they ever trailed, did they? I don't think they were ever down.
They were down 1-0.
Down 1-0, right? And then they tied it up the very next half inning. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like they were about to blow it. They were about to blow it. They were about to blow it. And then, like you said, a couple of timely challenges and some really questionable base running from the Orioles allowed you to have some breathing room for Munoz, and he just went right after guys with slider, and didn't care if he was going to walk somebody, didn't care if he was going to run a 3-ball count with a slider. Just keep on trusting that you'll find it, and he did, and he found it enough times to secure a Mariners dub.
Yeah, and again, Munoz, thanks in large part to the slider this year, some of his peripherals are actually at their best, or they're right in line with his career norms. It's just the fastball. It's just a fundamentally different pitch this year, and again, like I said, it's at best been non-competitive. Really, he just has to throw that slider. And even if it's not feeling great for him, I still think he just needs to throw it and just see what happens. It's his best chance. So I want to see him throw that slider consistently, like he did last night. And I love that he just came right out of the gate and he was just like, I'm just going to throw it no matter what. 16 of the 20 pitches, 80% slider last night for Andrés Muñoz. That's what I want to see. Yeah. Maybe not to like that extreme, maybe more like 65 to 70%, but still, like, I want it to be mostly slider from Andrés Muñoz.
Yeah, it probably helped that last night they had a 3-run lead, so he felt like he had a little bit more wiggle room. And he had a 2-run lead in Chicago, but you walk 2 guys, that wiggle room, goes away pretty quick. So Munoz able to just stick with the slider, get an early out there, and then just again continue to stick with it even after the walk. I just think that was important for him to, no matter what, just keep throwing that slider until you find it, because we know what a problem the fastball is for him right now.
Now, again, the Mariners are on the stretch where they're not going to have an off day for still, quite a while here. They got 6 more games before their next off day. Mm-hmm. So a lot of workload potentially here in the near future for this bullpen, and they're not off to a great start on this road trip. How concerned are you about the state of the bullpen right now?
More concerned about usage than I am performance. Brash wasn't good last night. Bizzardo wasn't good last night. Okay. I mean, that's going to happen to every reliever throughout the year. And Munoz been hit or miss. But yeah, it's the 6-man rotation. Like, the one benefit of the piggyback versus the 6-man is that in theory, your bullpen should get 1 day off a week, like just a full day off. Maybe one guy pitches out of that bullpen. And you kind of get to reset in the middle of the week, your bullpen. Well, if you're doing a 6-man rotation, not only are you not getting that reset day for your bullpen, you're also 1 arm short in that bullpen. So, you're having to cover a lot of guys. And clearly the Mariners don't trust Alex Hoppe at all. And if they don't, I don't know why he's up here. You should send him down and call up a Davila or somebody that you're willing to throw in the 8th inning with a 3-run lead. So yeah, I mean, they're already 1 man short in the bullpen, and their refusal to use the 7th guy in their bullpen under any circumstance seemingly means that they're another arm down. So there really are 2 arms down in this bullpen. Hancock only went 5 last night. We know that Gilbert's not a great candidate to go more than 5 tonight. George Kirby's kind of been up and down recently as well. So, I mean, and heck, even Brian Wu's had a couple of touchy outings. So it's just kind of one of those things where performance-wise, I think they're fine. I think they're being overused right now. And I think they obviously need some help at the deadline, and they need to, and from the starters, frankly, especially during this 10-game and 10-day stretch here. So I'm more concerned about the overusage of these guys than I am about their performance. And some of that you can't really help. Some of it you can, and they should do everything they can to try and ease some of the pressure off, because I mean, like, Ferrer and Spire get yesterday off. Cool. If they pitch today, which they're probably going to have to, that's still 3 times in 4 days, and they might not be available tomorrow. So you just kind of run into this vicious circle. You need a starter to go 7 or 8. You need an opportunity to launch Alex Hoppe where he can go 2 innings for you, and kind of rest the bullpen. they're not going to, backtrack on the 6-man and do a piggyback now. They're going to stick with the 6-man through the end of this road trip, and then they'll reassess where they are. But again, like, I would rather do a piggyback than a 6-man, I think, just because the bullpen, I don't trust Logan Gilbert to go deep enough to not have to cover 4 innings one time through. And then it feels like pretty good odds that somebody else in this rotation is also only going to go 4 or 5 innings every time through. And so now I have 2 games where I have to cover 4+ innings with my bullpen, and that's not counting any extra inning games that I might have to cover. And I'm already 1 man short, and I'm not using the 7th guy in my bullpen. So really I'm 2 guys short in that bullpen. And the 6th guy is Cooper Criswell. Like, I don't have that kind of middle class reliever right now that I trust all too much. Criswell was okay yesterday. But obviously, he had to throw 40 some odd pitches the day before, and last night he threw 40 some odd pitches. So like, yeah, he's down for a couple days as well. So yeah, I'm concerned how they handle the rest of this road trip, because it's a long way till they have an off day, and I don't see any kind of reset coming for this bullpen based on the number of innings Mariners starters are giving them recently.
All right, coming up, we'll dive into Emerson Hancock's start last night in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy and Gametime. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, then you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why the Confetti Craze 5 Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic taste you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and 0 sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved birthday cake, but I'm turning 30 this year, so I can't be eating sweets all day. And this is a perfect alternative. Confetti Craze 5 Hour Energy Shots taste just like birthday cake, vanilla and buttery flavors to let you be unapologetically extra and unstoppably energized. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. So crack open a Confetti Craze 5 Hour Energy Shot today. There's nothing like watching a Mariners game. Even better when you get to watch it live. The excitement, the fans. The only problem? Getting tickets can feel like a grind. I'm talking long queues, surprise fees, and of course, prices jumping at checkout. That's where there's Gametime. The Gametime app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Gametime guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. So what you see is what you pay, period. The seat views feature is huge. I can see the panoramic view from my exact seat before I buy. And zone deals let me pick the section and save even more while Gametime selects the seat. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen for all things Mariners. And also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club for ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with me and other listeners of this show. Tap the link in the description or go to lockedonmariners.supercast.com to learn more. Emerson Hancock last night against the Orioles just goes 5 innings. Gives up just 1 run on 3 hits, but only 3 strikeouts, a couple walks, a hit by pitch as well. 9 hard hit balls for the Orioles against Hancock. Those 2 walks and the hit by pitch all coming in the same inning, and Hancock able to escape that with just the 1 run given up. So props to him for only giving up 1 run, but yeah, he was just kind of fine last night, I would say. We've seen a lot better from Hancock, and this is another start for him. Now, and kind of what's starting to become a long line of recent starts for him where he's not really getting the strikeouts. Ever since that 14 strikeout performance that he had against the Royals, he's had, let's see here, The strikeouts have been 4, 6, 4, 3, 7 his last time out against the Mets, but 3 again last night against the Orioles. But still finding ways to keep the other team off the scoreboard, which is the most important thing here. But still, like I said, we've seen a lot better from Hancock this year than we saw last night for sure.
Yeah, it does kind of seem to me like we might be approaching a kind of a tipping point here with Hancock, because it does seem like every start he gets a little bit closer to the blow up start that we've all been dreading. But he keeps finding a way to, provide quality innings. Although last night he didn't provide many of them, he did provide quality innings enough, battled when he had to. He threw 77% fastball last night, 41% two seam, which is different than normal, and 36% four seam. He threw 11 sweepers, only 4 of them were strikes, and he didn't get a single whiff on that pitch. Like, that's a problem. That is going to be a pretty big issue that he needs to solve. He needs an off-speed pitch. Like, the fastball value is great and all, but he still needs that off-speed pitch. And until he has the fastball and the sweeper working at the same time, he's really not going to get that many strikeouts. And so you just kind of look at a guy who command and control kind of ebbs and flows right now. He's not getting a ton of whiff. He's done a good job of when he does give up home runs, they're typically solo shots and things like that. But he's going to walk into a start here where he's going to lose some control and command. He's going to walk a guy. He's going to give up a bloop single. And then all of a sudden he's going to give up a home run. And he's going to go 4 innings and give up 6 runs at some point. Like, he's walking that line. He had to tightrope out of a couple of, tight spots yesterday to get through 5. And again, to his credit, he's done that. He's been very good. But it does feel to me, at least when I'm watching, it's like, I don't know when the wheels are going to come off, but they're going to come off. And I'm not saying for the entire season. I'm just saying one of these next couple starts, I feel like he's going to get smacked in the face. And he'll have to adjust, because it does feel like the league is starting to make an adjustment to him. He's kind of mid trying to make an adjustment to the league right now. And he's surviving while all this is happening, which is a great sign. But it does, every time I watch Hancock now, I'm kind of like, it feels like maybe we're approaching the end of the Linsanity run. And we just need to start looking at Hancock as like a good starting pitcher, but we're probably not going to see dominant Emerson Hancock very often going forward.
Yeah, it just feels like he's kind of teetering on the danger zone right now. I mean, looking at qualified starting pitchers in baseball, he has the 14th highest barrel percentage against right now, and as far as hard hit rate goes, he has the 8th highest hard hit rate against as well. And so if that's going to continue to happen here, and like I said, 9 hard hit balls yesterday against the Orioles, if that's going to continue to happen and the strikeouts are also going to continue to go down in line with that, that seems like a potential problem. But again, he's finding ways to circumvent the damage so far. So hopefully you can keep that going. And we got a note here from our friends over at Just Baseball. Hancock and Cam Schlittler are the only 2 American League starting pitchers that are qualified with an ERA below 3 and a WHIP below 1. So Hancock is doing some really nice stuff this year, and he very well could be an all-star this season, especially if he keeps it going, over the next few weeks and kind of avoids that blow-up start that you're alluding to here over the next few weeks. But yeah, there are some signs here that make me a little concerned about what could be lying ahead for Hancock. But props to him for finding ways to battle through all of this. And who knows, maybe he's able to just kind of get back on track here, and the strikeouts will start to come, and he can start limiting the damage, the hard hits and the barrels and all that a little bit more, like he was like he was more so at the start of the season. So we'll see. But but yeah, he's just a fascinating guy to watch this year. He's definitely the guy that I have circled every single time in the rotation. And I'm just so interested to see what happens next with him.
Yeah, we'll see. It's, again, we've talked about this. It's been a good thing that even without his best stuff, he's found a way to get outs and get through a lineup multiple times and all that. So definitely a good sign. And again, we're kind of like trying to predict the future, and it's not a difficult future to predict because every single starter in baseball will have a blow up start at some point. But it does feel like the warning signs are here for Hancock, that if it does happen in the next time or two through the rotation, I'm not going to be surprised at all, because it feels like the warning signs are there. And again, there's not really much you can do about it. You just understand that it's going to happen. The important thing will be what happens to start after it happens, if it ever does happen. But yeah, it's not a bash Emerson Hancock segment.
No.
As you guys know, I've long been a fan of Emerson Hancock. Go check out my writings of him at sotomojo.com. So yeah, but it does feel like, he's kind of been teetering a little bit over the last handful of starts, and you're just like, it's close. It's getting close to an implosion. And it's really not a great time for it. I mean, there's never a good time for it, but while you're kind of waiting for Brian Wu to lock in as Brian Wu, when you're kind of waiting for George Kirby to come out of his little slump here, you've really relied on Hancock and Miller, and honestly, Luis Castillo a little bit here over the last month to really provide quality innings for you, as you kind of Logan, Brian, mostly good, but and then George the last 4 or 5 times out. Ugh. So
yeah,
you really need Hancock to keep it dialed in and buttoned up here as long as you possibly can.
All right, well, coming up, JP Crawford yesterday landed on the injured list with a right hand contusion. And on top of that, Colt Emerson was scratched from yesterday's lineup right before the game with back tightness. So we'll talk about all of that and how that could impact a future move the Mariners are going to have to make here pretty soon in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Ethos.
This is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone, and on there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/control the zone. Link in the description of this episode. So we were hoping that JP Crawford would be able to avoid a trip to the injured list after he was hit by a pitch from Framber Valdez on Friday, missed the next 2 games of the Tigers series. But unfortunately, yesterday afternoon, he was officially placed on the IL. Ryan Bliss was called up as the corresponding move there. And then Colt Emerson was scratched from the lineup with back tightness shortly before the game. So we saw an up the middle combination of Ryan Bliss and Cole Young making his first appearance at shortstop, which went fine. But I definitely want Colt Emerson in there as soon as possible, and hopefully that's the case today, and maybe we'll even get a lineup reveal here before we get out of here. But knowing us, it'll probably happen right as soon as we're done recording, because that's how things tend to go around here. But so JP out for a little while. We'll see how long his stint on the IL will wind up being. Might not be too serious, since there seemed to be at least a shot that he would need that IL stint in the first place. But it's possible that Cal Raleigh could return before JP does. Cal is now, I think, as we're recording this, now having his second rehab appearance, this time around with the Rainiers. We'll see how long that goes for him, and how long the Mariners want him down there rehabbing. But the Mariners might have to make a decision here on Johnny Pareda and Mitch Garver, and now with the context of JP being out for a little while here, do you think this could impact the Mariners' decision to potentially keep all three catchers once Cal is able to get back into the fold here?
Maybe, but I don't know how long of a stay on the IL JP Crawford's going to have. We didn't really get much of an update on that. He is eligible to return at the start of the next homestand. So for all we know, JP beats Cal back because Cal will play in Tacoma all this week, and then they'll reevaluate. So I don't know. For all we know, we get both of them back on Tuesday. We just don't know. We don't have enough information yet. But if we assume, for whatever reason, Cal beats back JP, I think you probably have to send Pareda down, just because I think you need that infield insurance. Because if you bring Cal, if you call Cal and you're keeping the two catchers, you're probably sending down Ryan Bliss at that point, or well, I guess probably Patrick Wisdom, because you want somebody who can play the middle infield. But also, what's Colt Emerson's back? Like, is this just a short-term thing? Like Dan seemed to make it seem last night, seemed like a pretty good chance Colt will be back in the lineup tonight, but who knows? Back issues are tricky. They can go away or they can kind of linger. So we'll see how that works out. But I think if we assume that JP, we have to assume quite a few things. Let's assume that Cal's ready to go next Tuesday. JP isn't. What is the move? I think you send down Pareda and you just roll with Garver, and you roll, and Wisdom and Bliss both stay on the roster. When JP comes back after that, right, you probably send down Wisdom at that point, or Bliss, either one. And then at that point, you might be willing to send down the other one to recall Pareda, although Pareda can't be recalled unless there's an injury, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think you want to carry one infielder, one true backup infielder who can only play the corners, the third base or first base. I think you need somebody who can play second base or shortstop, and Cole Young can do one or the other, but he can't do both. So I think Bliss stays until JP is back. That is my hunch, because I don't think the Mariners are going to carry three catchers. So I think Bliss is here until JP returns. I think that'll be the swap they make. And then Wisdom, again, maybe that's the swap when Cal comes back and they carry three catchers, but it'll probably be Pareda. So my hunch is that with just kind of the musical chairs of roster decisions here, I think Pareda is going to go down, and I think Bliss is going to go down when these two guys are healthy. And so I think Wisdom survives, but he's definitely a candidate to be down as well at some point. But for now, I think Wisdom's probably the guy, now that I'm thinking about it, who sticks around beyond the return of these two guys. Yeah.
Now, I saw something silly going around on Twitter. Right. Yeah. I saw something silly on Twitter. Go figure. Right. But apparently Mitch Garver sold his home officially a day or two ago.
Yeah.
That didn't just happen, by the way. The process of that didn't just happen. I don't know how many of you have sold a home before, but that process takes a little while typically. And the home was listed back in February, which was he even signed by the Mariners at that point?
Sign until mid-February, so probably not.
Or March, maybe even. It
was spring training. They were willing to spring training when he signed. So
yeah. So no, that does not have anything to do with what's going on with the Mariners roster. Get a grip, people. That does not have it. That does not say anything about what might potentially happen here once Cal gets back.
It appears to me that Pareda is the primary catcher right now until Cal gets back. But once Cal comes back, I don't think that means they want Pareda to slide into the backup spot. I just think that means they want Mitch Garver to be the backup, the true backup. Whoever the number one is, they don't want it to be Garver, and Garver might not be able to handle that workload. He's 34 years old. We know that he's had some back issues, and he kind of tweaked his knee also in that was the Houston series. That he's kind of been dealing with that. So I just don't think they want to put too much on Garver's plate. Pareda's younger. He's a better athlete back there. Defensively, it's probably a bit of a wash because he is dreadful with the challenges, but he throws much better than Garver does. So
Had a big one last night, though.
he did, and he
Had a couple of big ones actually. Because who did Munoz face to start his inning? Was it Ward? Yeah, I think it was Ward. And he threw what was initially called ball 3. It would have been a 3-0 count to start that inning. And Pareda challenged it, got flipped to a 2-1 count, and that changed the complexion of that entire at bat. May have changed the complexion of that entire inning for Munoz. Because I mean, like, coming off of Sunday, if he like walks the first batter that he sees on Monday,
sure. The part that doesn't freak me out, the part that I'm kind of like high rolling about is Pareda almost didn't get the challenge on Alonso oftentimes. Yeah, and it's not like that is such an obvious strike you have to challenge it. It is like this is exactly what the challenge is for. Like if you're gonna take a shot on a challenge, this is the exact situation you take that shot on, and he almost didn't do it. And it's like, no, you have to take that shot, ball or not. Like that's exactly what you like. Of all the shots in the dark Pareda has taken with his challenges, to not take one there would have been malpractice. Thankfully, he took one, and the umpire gave him just enough leeway that he's like, "Yep, we'll accept that challenge." So, but anyways, I think Pareda's the starter until Cal's back, and then I just think they want to keep Garver in that role. They really like Mitch. The pitching staff likes him a lot. The clubhouse likes him a lot, and he is providing value as the left-handed, thumper / backup catcher that the Mariners really need right now, because unfortunately they're not getting it from Rob Refsnyder, who'll probably be in the lineup tonight. I believe, isn't Rogers pitching tonight? So, I assume we'll see Garver and Refsnyder in the lineup tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Rob did have 2 hits in his last start. They were both infield singles, I think. So, but we'll see how it goes. But no, I think Pareda is definitely the backup catcher next year. Like the Mariners will go into this offseason and they'll say Pareda's the backup. We don't have to worry about that position, but he does have an option left. It's just easier to send him down. And then again, at some point, do they consider 3 catchers with the third catcher kind of being Garver, who mostly just DHs against lefties? I think they will at some point, but I don't think it'll be right away.
I think you have to, because again, Garver's a better option than Refsnyder is against lefties right now. But also Pareda is I think a better overall option than Garver, because he's hitting righties and lefties, and he's been fine behind the plate aside from the challenges. All right, that is going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And once again, if you never miss an episode, it's time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club and get ad-free audio, access to our members-only Discord, and more, all built for our most loyal fans. Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.